Yes, making sure you know how to use the buttons. Great to have you guys on. We have a great session for you guys today, and we want to make sure you have full access to the information. This is our first webinar for the year for 2025, pre-convention webinar. We'll be having AstraZeneca join us. My name is Alfred Ojuku. I am the healthcare director for the HISIG, NESB HISIG group, and we are eager and excited to have you all join us. We would ask that if you know other people that are interested in joining, please forward them the link. I believe we will share that link with you guys again. It's a great opportunity to connect with our community. But before we get started, we do want to share a quick video to share a little bit more about what we do here at NESB. And for the sake of time, we're going to keep going because we want to make sure we stay on schedule and that we share as much information as we can with the team here. Again, my name is Alfred Juku. I want to welcome you all to the healthcare HISIG NESB community. We are excited to have you here joined us. And we are really focused on making sure you have enough information to be successful, both in your careers, your collegiate careers, your professional careers. And we're hoping that the information we share with you today with our partners here will be very helpful. But a few housekeeping items before we get started. Want to make sure that you check your audio and video settings, and please make sure you're muted and your audio is turned off in the video to maintain a lot of focus on the host and the panelists. And we encourage you to use the chat features. Again, I wanted people to go ahead and give it a thumbs up to make sure that that works, or a heart if you like hearts. Go ahead and put that heart in there. Reaction emojis are very exciting, and clapping if you hear something that's amazing that you enjoy. And of course, the raise hand feature. If you have a question, if you want to bring up a thought, we would encourage you to go ahead and use that. We do ask that you hold off any questions from a Q&A session, from a Q&A point standpoint, so that we have time to get through the content and give you an opportunity to share your information. But most of all, we want you to enjoy the time that you have here. This is an opportunity for you to connect with our community and learn a lot more about what we're doing from a healthcare perspective. For today's agenda, just to share with you, we wanted to make sure we have an opportunity to share a little bit more about what NESB HISIG is, an overview. And then we're going to go into the great content of AstraZeneca, have a few fireside chats with some of the legends that we have in our community. We'll then break out into a breakout session and discussion, and then end with a closing remark. So we're looking forward to a lively discussion. We want you to stay as much as possible to hear the information. Yes, the content will be recorded and be available for you afterwards. So we look forward to making sure that you have an opportunity to hear for it. So before we get there, let's move straight into the HISIG overview. So I would like to invite two of our amazing members of our community, our founding director and emeritus, Mr. John Thomas, and our HISIG advisor, Mr. Tony Black. John and Tony, you have the floor.
Thank you, Alfred. Good evening, good day, and thanks for taking the time to join. I'm John Thomas. I'm the founding director for NESB's Healthcare Innovation Group, affectionately known as HISIG, and I'm joined by another legacy leader, Tony Black.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tony Black. I'm a healthcare advisor on the HISIG board.
And we're excited to share with you a little bit of HISIG's passion and purpose. Our HISIG's vision is to be the most trusted, for technical expertise and solutions to complex healthcare problems impacting the Black and Brown community.
And the mission is to promote the development and implementation of innovations, creativity that will improve diagnosis, treatment, prevention of injury, illness, and disease for the community.
Now we'd like to invite another member of the HiSig leadership team, Prince Opuku, who will share with you how HiSig achieves the mission and vision through our care strategy. Prince?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for joining. So here I'm going to take you through our strategy, which is CARE. And as you can see, it stands for, we have the C, A, R, and E. So the C is to connect. So basically, we focus on connecting members who are passionate about healthcare innovations with professionals across academia, government, and industry. These connections open doors for mentorship, professional development, and career opportunities. And the next one, which is the A, advance. Innovation is at the heart of what we do, and we advance healthcare by supporting research, development, and commercialization of new technologies and solutions. And we have the R, which is to recruit and retain. So basically, our strength lies in our people. We actively recruit and retain NESB members who are interested in making an impact in healthcare innovations, and also ensuring that we build a strong and engaging community. And the last is the E, which is educate and expose. So that one is more important. We are committed to educating and exposing both our members and a broader Black community to healthcare disparities, innovations, healthcare pathways, and career pathways, and also sharing knowledge, which is key in driving this meaningful change. So we thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a beautiful section.
Thank you, Prince. And thank you, Mr. John Thomas. And thank you, Mr. Tony Black. Again, we can't encourage this more. This is a great opportunity to see and learn what we do in the CARE program. But without further ado, I do want to make sure we leave enough time for our guests and our guests of honor. I will mention that all of these people, if you're around and you have the availability, you'll see us at NESB 50. And I want to make sure we do a really good introduction for our team here at AstraZeneca. They're a great partner of ours. They've always done a great job of making sure they talk about the healthcare aspect and ensure that you have the support you needed. So without further ado, I want to pass the floor over to Mr. Donnie and go ahead and use the round of applause feature to give him a grand welcome as he joins us today. So thank you, Mr. Donnie.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. Sorry, let me take control of this really quickly. Welcome to our webinar. Thank you for joining us this evening. So my name is Danielle Hoy. I am a senior scientist with vaccine drug product development team at AstraZeneca. My education, I received my bachelor's in science in chemistry at Texas Southern University and my PhD in biomedical engineering at the University of Connecticut. In my day-to-day as a senior scientist, I perform research to identify critical quality attributes of vaccine drug products and transfer drug manufacturing processes from lab scale to industrial scale. And later when we have the breakout sessions, some of you will get to learn what that actually means when we break into more intimate groups. So just a quick glance at the agenda here. Just did my welcome and introduction. We're going to move into AstraZeneca at a glance so that you can learn about what our company does and what our philosophies are. Then we're going to move into the meat of our meeting today, which is the fireside chat and Q&A with our VP and General Manager of Supply Operations at our Mount Vernon location, Femi Dieti. And then I'm going to talk to you a bit about opportunities. Well, I won't talk to you, but one of my colleagues will talk to you a bit about opportunities that we have here at AstraZeneca. And then we'll move into what AstraZeneca will be doing at NESB Chicago this year. Hopefully you all will be there to join us. And then we'll have breakout rooms to have that more intimate networking session that I mentioned earlier. All right, so who are we? At AstraZeneca, we are a global science-led, patient-focused biopharmaceutical company. We've always had a very consistent strategy, but dynamic with the changing times. And at the core of that is science and innovation. We lead everything we do in science and innovation, investing in new technologies and modalities. We also believe in highlighting our therapy leadership in areas that we believe we can make the most meaningful difference to patients. Some of those include oncology, rare diseases, cardiovascular, renal, and metabolism, respiratory and immunology, and vaccines and immune therapies. With a focus on patients, we have a diversified portfolio of medicines across primary care, specialty care, and rare diseases. And we have a very strong commitment to our sustainability efforts. And so just a quick snapshot of our 2024 global highlights. 2024 was a very successful year for AstraZeneca. We had a 54.1 billion total revenue at the end of 2024, and we invested $13.6 billion into our science. We had 202 successful market launches, and we had 191 project in development pipeline. At the end of the year, we had a workforce of over 94,000 employees. We reached 90.5 million people through our access to healthcare programs, and we had a 77.5% reduction in our greenhouse gases since 2015. At AstraZeneca, we have 10 R&D centers located across 5 different countries, and we have 27 manufacturing sites located across 16 countries, showing that we have a very strong global presence here. Very hot topic now these days is data, digital, and artificial intelligence. So what are we doing at AZ? We're recently investing a lot in our leadership in AI. Just recently, we've hired over 400 plus data scientists. We have 100 plus active AI projects within just the R&D space alone. We're using AI to help us in our drug discovery efforts, along with tracking our patients' journeys. We're also using it across our different sites for employees in order to forecast automation and regulatory submission documents. And we're also building smart factories and autonomous manufacturing sites. In terms of diversity, AstraZeneca has a very unique philosophy. We intentionally put inclusion before diversity. That doesn't mean that we don't think that diversity is important, of course, but in order to both hire new talent and retain new talent, we have to make sure that the spaces that we create are inclusive and that they create a culture of belonging. And belonging at AstraZeneca, we believe that it means having a psychologically safe space where you are able to have differing views. And so just some examples of some ways that we do inclusion at AZ. We have plenty of employee resource groups, including but not limited to AZ Pride groups. We have Safe Space ERGs. We have a Think Neurodiversity ERG. We have African American Heritage and Black Professionals Network, AZ Black, Middle Eastern Embrace. Several different ERGs to support a very diverse culture, the diverse culture that we have at AstraZeneca. One of the key things that we like in terms of our workspace with diversity, we want our employee workforce to match the patients that we treat. And so now, in moving forward, getting to the meat of our conversation, I'm going to pass the mic over to Florence Weber, Flo Weber, and Aaron Spencer to lead our fireside chat with our esteemed speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. My name is Florence Weber, and I usually go by Flo. I am a scientist within the Manufacturing Sciences and Technology team, and I'm currently based in Maryland. And as Donnie mentioned, I will be co-hosting the fireside chat with my colleague, Aaron Spencer. Background, I have a bachelor's in biochemistry and my master's is in biotechnology, which I got at Johns Hopkins. With my day-to-day activities at AZ, I support the process monitoring of our drug substance manufacturing at commercial scale. I am on the other side of what Donnie does, so I do support tech transfer of molecules coming in for clinical, and also the reports that goes into the regulatory submissions for various agencies. Okay. And next we have Aaron.
Thank you so much, Flo. I think we can go to the next slide. So as Flo said, I am also excited to talk with you all just about NSBE and opportunities. In my day-to-day, I am a talent acquisition business partner, so supporting the HR functions. I earned my bachelor's in arts and philosophy at Syracuse University and then got my master's in program and project management at Brandeis. And my day-to-day is essentially recruiting for full-time opportunities within the IT and digital landscape at AZ. And some of that support includes proactively finding diverse talent like yourselves, promoting our AZ branding to be inclusive, and then also facilitating best interviews and hiring practices with our leadership to support hiring diverse talent.
Thank you, Aaron. So our distinguished guest speaker for tonight is Femi Diedi. Femi has been with AstraZeneca for 14 years and currently is the Vice President and General Manager of the Mount Vernon operation in Indiana. Prior to this role, he led AstraZeneca's operations in Germany. Before joining AstraZeneca, Femi held numerous roles with increasing responsibility in operations management and supply chain management at companies spanning both consumer goods and specialty chemical industries. He holds a master's degree in chemical engineering and an MBA from Manchester Business School. Femi can be described as a transformative, results-oriented, and highly motivated leader with extensive strategic, international, supply chain, and general management experience. He is a principle-centered leader who is dedicated to inspiring and motivating others to deliver positive outcomes for patients in the pharmaceutical industry. Good evening, Femi, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And that was a fantastic introduction. So thank you, Flo and Aaron.
Your extensive experience across multiple companies and industries gives you a unique perspective that I'm excited to explore with our audience of students and young professionals. I would like to start our conversation by talking about something that many people are navigating right now: calculated risk taking in their careers. Many of our audience are at stages in their academic and career journeys where they're trying to determine which risks are worth taking. And there's always the uncertainty. Will this decision propel my career forward or will this set me back? Femi, can you please share any instances where taking a risk led to unexpected opportunities or insights that significantly advanced your career? And how did you recognize and seize that moment?
All right, great question. Thank you for asking it. So let me just check. You guys can all hear me, and I'm coming through clear, I hope.
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Flo. So it's a great question, and the first thing I'll say is I've had several instances in my career where taking a risk has led to, I guess, unexpected opportunities that have, led to other things that have advanced my career. For me, I'll probably go back to the very beginning because I am a chemical engineer, as it says so on on the page here. And I knew from a very early stage in my career that that I wanted to not just stay in engineering, but also be a bit more of a generalist. So for the first 5 or 6 years of my career, I did the engineering thing, and for me, what I would say is that once you've designed the distillation column, so this is when I was in specialty chemicals. Once you've designed distillation columns, pumps, reactors, and things like that, for me, doing it again didn't interest me. It didn't pique my interest. It wasn't something new. I like to chase new things, so I learned that very early in my career, and so I, like I said a few moments ago, I was clear on not necessarily staying as a chemical engineer, but also becoming more of a generalist. And what did this really entail for me? It really meant that I had to sort of operate outside of my comfort zone and take that risk, to be honest with you, which is to because all I'd known was engineering very early in my career, and for me, I decided to venture beyond it, and that for me was taking a risk. And to be honest with you, it's been one of the most rewarding risks that I've ever taken, because every instance I have ventured outside of my comfort zone, I've also had the opportunity to learn and also to grow more specifically. And that growth element is so important, because as you as you traverse your careers, the more experiences that you have, the more credibility you bring to any situation. And so for me, taking those risks by going outside of my comfort zone ultimately led me to not just beyond engineering, but I did a stint in sales and marketing, for example. I did a stint in production. I did a stint in finance. I did a stint in procurement. Throughout my career, and just chasing those opportunities have led to where I am today, and I really do have no regrets. And taking these risks, these are all smart risks, and one thing I would encourage, especially the young people on the call today, or those who are early in their career, is to, not be afraid to take those risks, but also from taking those risks, you learn more about yourself very early, and and when you're early in your career, you tend to be forgiven for the mistakes that you make. So it's important to learn from them very early in your career. The more senior you become, the less forgiving it becomes as well. So you have this opportunity, if you're early in career, to really take these smart risks and do things to really learn a lot about yourself. And I one of the things that I also just want to call out is, if you're risk averse, then it doesn't mean that you have to jump ship and do something else. But even within what you're doing, and also within your comfort zone, there are risks that you can also take as well. Like, for example, I would say that if you have the opportunity, in whatever you're doing, to work on a priority project for your business, that's a risk, because and it's a good thing to get yourself noticed as well. It's also important, that if you're not comfortable taking risks, it's important to always be guided by your moral compass. And I've found that, and this is in a good way, in any role that you're in, speaking up in a good way is something that I would say, yeah, it's always a good thing to do. Yeah. And especially speaking up about something that is not popular, but is the right thing to do, has never ever failed me. So I would just want to call that out as well, to say, if you're early in your career and you're not, someone that wants to take lots of risks, I think it's important to, to always speak up and do what's right. And that's how you also get noticed as well, and also build your credibility to help you advance your career in your chosen field. So I'll just pause there and hand back to you, Flo, or Aaron.
Thank you very much, Femi. And stepping outside our comfort zone. It's definitely an advice for us to keep in mind as we move forward. Really appreciate you sharing that experience. Building on that, I think that many of us would want to develop a framework for evaluating potential risks, especially in the scientific fields where decisions can have long term implications. You know, risk taking is one thing, but then knowing which risks are worth taking, you know, it takes a whole other level of skills. Given your experience, how do you evaluate which risks are worth taking? And do you have specific criteria or a framework that helps you assess potential opportunities versus threats?
Another great question. So I think everyone is different, and for me, what has tended to work for me so far in my career, and to answer this question, I'm assuming that the goal that you're trying to attain is clearly defined. Then I would say, to answer your question, it does depend on many things in terms of a framework or method. It depends on many things. So for me, what's always worked for me is, first and foremost, is that I won't take any risks that take me away from my own personal set of values. So if there's something that is going to compromise your own integrity, it's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. So that's the first thing that I'll just throw out there. Then second, I'll say that it's important to understand what I call your own risk threshold. So, as I said in my previous answer, I'm someone that is more prone to taking smart risks, but not everyone is like me. So I'm comfortable dealing with ambiguity. I'm comfortable being outside of my comfort zone. So like I said, for me, that's what's worked in the past, and it's helped me grow. But in this instance, I think it's important to do what I call a risk versus reward analysis up front. And this is just to make sure that you're not compromising yourself or your principles. And then always develop a plan. Yeah. I think it's important to have a plan to get you to your desired outcome that addresses or mitigates any of the risks in what you're trying to do. And then the most important thing that I would say that has worked for me in terms of specific criteria or methods to assess any opportunities or threats and risk is that it's important to always consider in anything you do the unintended consequences. Okay, and to do that, it's important to think it through, but also bring people in. Yeah, I think that it's one of the things that I can is really underestimated. But for me, it's an opportunity to bring people in on what you're thinking and get builds. It gives it enables, at least from my experience, it enables others to come on board, especially if you're working as part of a team effort. It's for me, it's the real key criteria that I actually tend to use to assess opportunities and threats, which is to really analyze and look into what the unintended consequences of the plan that you're trying to deliver brings. Okay, then from there on, for me, it's very simple in terms of my methodology. It's all about making informed decisions each step of the way. So when you have a plan, break it down and just make informed decisions each step of the way. And the key types of attributes that that are necessary to sort of evaluate risks or opportunities that I can call out are things like, it's important to have what I call a growth mindset always, and to be able to learn from mistakes, learn from setbacks. I think it's important because it's important to be able to move forward when you've taken a few knocks and not to be discouraged. I would also say it's important to also be someone that is an open communicator. So it's important to be able to bring people along with you always, and because when you do that, there's less chance of things going wrong. It's important to be forward thinking and to always know when to seek or ask for help. don't be shy to ask for help. If someone's done something before, there's no point trying to reinvent the wheel. Leverage your relationships, your network, and ask for help when it's needed. And last but not least, one of the things that I always encourage people to do, and I do it myself, is to be adaptable. Yeah, be very comfortable being adaptable because things get thrown your way and plans have to change and you have to move with the times. So it's important to be very adaptable. And, these are the things that, have led me to be comfortable taking smart risks. So I'll pause there.
Thank you so much for the insights, Femi. I think that we've all gained valuable perspective on navigating some risks within, our respective industries. And I'm sure our audience is taking notes from all these tips you're providing. So we've explored the importance of smart risks, and I think it's equally important to delve into the heart of leadership. To guide us through the next part of our conversation, I'm going to hand it over to Aaron, and he'll be guiding us through exploring the deeper dimensions of some of the principles that have shaped your leadership journey. Thank you again, Femi, and Aaron, over to you.
Thank you so much, Flo. And Femi, it was inspirational just to hear about you taking calculated risks. I can't wait to go in the office tomorrow and take calculated risks and bring some people in with me like you recommended. And I think just to tie it in, I'd love to just hear about just some of the leadership qualities that you have. So please feel free to tell me and the group, just to share a story about a pivotal moment in your career where your sense of purpose was crucial in motivating you to continue or change directions.
Great question, Aaron. So for me, I'll take this group back to, this is, around the time that I joined AstraZeneca. So I was talking, this is about 15 years ago, nearly 15 years ago. And I was at another company. I was in consumer goods at the time. And, how can I put it politely? But basically, when I was in consumer goods, the worst day that I could have had being, in manufacturing or supply chain was the product that we're making being out of stock. Meaning, the retailer, like a Walmart or a big retailer, would get on the phone and scream at you, and you think the world's going to end and that kind of thing. So, what changed in me, and to answer your question, the pivotal moment that I had was I realized that making drinks or shampoos or whatever, for me, wasn't really changing the world. I would go home, but I wasn't really satisfied. I was never really satisfied doing that. And I really did want to make a difference. And very fortunately for me, AstraZeneca came knocking at my door, and I think it was divine intervention, to be honest with you, because at the time, I wasn't aware of AstraZeneca or what the company did. But when I started to look into it and I came to the company for an interview, I met some of the greatest people I've ever met in my career to date. And I saw what leadership really looks like. So I've worked in other global companies, but this was probably the first company where I saw real leadership in action. And the moment that was pivotal to me, and this is a story that I'll share with you guys, is, this is around shortly after I started in AstraZeneca. So I am of West African descent, and I was in a West African country shortly after joining AstraZeneca, and I was there visiting family, and I had an uncle that was in hospital, and he had throat cancer, and he's since passed away. But I remember visiting him with my father, and after visiting my uncle, and I was leaving with my father, this doctor ran out after us, the doctor treating my uncle. And he looked at my father. So my father is an oncologist, by the way, so he's medically trained. And he came to my father and said to my father, he said, "Hey, he brought some drugs and said, "Hey, should I use these drugs?" And my father said, "Yeah, of course, use the drugs." And at that moment, I thought, this is so strange. Why on earth is this doctor asking my father, is this doctor incompetent? What's going on here? So I turned to my dad and I say, "Hey, Dad, what's that all about?" And my father said to me, "Look, the doctor was basically passing on the responsibility to my father, not because it wasn't the right drug to use. It was more because if the drug was counterfeit or not real, then it's my father's responsibility for having said, yes, use those drugs." And, being of African descent, one of the things that I realized in that moment was, the cost of drugs is one thing, and don't get me wrong, that's a whole separate conversation around, the cost of drugs in developing countries, and and the availability of medicines, but the question of is it real or not should never be a question ever asked. you know it should never be a question in anyone's frame of mind, is this drug real or not? And that really bothered me. And so, so for me, it was one of the pivotal moments that has really driven my leadership and my leadership style, because I'm someone that has a supply chain background. I've developed and grown within supply chain, especially within AstraZeneca. And one of the things that that I want to do is to make sure that question of is it real or not is never asked in any country ever again. So one of my passions is to eradicate the scourge of falsified medicines, and and for me, it's something that has really driven a lot of the decisions that I take and make. And it's important that right now I'm sort of, running an operation that makes medicines and makes sure that these medicines are coded the right way so that they can never be falsified. So we have something called serialization that goes on medicines. But for me, I'm not chasing the dream of being the CEO. I'm chasing the dream of actually changing the industry, especially in emerging markets where, things that we take for granted in the West are happening in those markets. So for me, that's my driver, and that's why, I'm in this industry. So to answer that question, around, can I share a story about a pivotal moment? That's one of them. I've had many, but that's what really motivates me. And it's really driving the direction that I'm going in. So I'm not chasing CEO, I'm chasing industry change. I'm making a difference in the lives of people.
Thank you so much, Femi. And I think I'm definitely blown away by just the response. And it sounds like you have a great sense of purpose when it comes to your why, for why you're working at AstraZeneca. So thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing. You've also sparked a lot of questions from the audience, which is great. So I know we don't have all night or all the time, but I'm more than happy to just talk through just some of the questions that have come up. So Femi, this one came from Nathan, and Nathan asked, how do you maintain mental sharpness and creativity, especially in environments that challenge you or push you out of your comfort zone?
So again, it's about your core. As long as you're true to yourself, I always ask myself the question, before I do something that I think could be, untoward, I ask myself the question, am I going to sleep well at night having made that decision? So it's important to always be at peace with yourself. So for me to stay sharp, I make sure that I stay well within my principles, and I also try to, read or educate myself on things. And again, this is around venturing outside of my comfort zone. So I'm a curious person. So I think it's great to be curious, because it keeps you sharp as well. So the more I learn, the more I like to employ in what I do in my day to day. So that's one of the things that I do tend to do a lot of, which is to read around topics, speak to people, and just be curious and be brave enough to ask the questions that no one else will ask as well, because that keeps you sharp.
Great. Yeah, that's fantastic. And love hearing that too. There's another question, and I'm not sure, maybe I don't have the full context, but I'm happy to try to guest, but interested in knowing what were some of the key challenges you faced during the period of transitioning?
So transitioning to the industry or just transitioning between roles? Because I'm on my fourth or fifth role in AstraZeneca now. So transitioning to the industry, the key. So I'll answer it from the context of transitioning from outside pharma into pharma. So I came again from a consumer goods industry, and I remember at the time people saying, "Oh, you're going to pharma. Everything is so slow there. It's like you're gonna be, it's like Back to the Future, where I'm going back to the past, and and everyone talked about how it being a highly regulated environment. Things never move, and you're waiting for stuff. Now, I'll be honest with you, and I'll say that never came to pass. Yep. What I learned, and through my transition, and this is something that I haven't shared with many people, AstraZeneca was probably the first company that I joined in my career that I actually went back to open up textbooks to look at stuff. Yeah. And why do I say that? It's because it's the caliber of people that I'm working with that I found to be incredible, and I'm someone that is always ready to raise their game, and so for me the transition was one that I could never hoped for, in the sense that it was just amazing, just being around people that were bright, were purpose driven. It was a company that had a lot more diversity than previous companies that I'd worked in, and I'd worked in other global companies. And it was a company that I found had a mission statement that was, in tune with what I wanted to do, and the value I wanted to bring to this world. So to transition, for me, it was a straightforward transition. All those things I talked about moments ago that people said about the industry were not true. It's moving fast. There's lots of great stuff happening in this industry. And the most important thing for me is just the fact that, every day there are discoveries that are making and changing the lives of patients out there. And for me, that's just amazing. And, it's not slow moving at all. It's fast. It's exhilarating. There's always something new every day for me. In all the roles I've been in have been very, very different. And for me, I can't say enough about, how transitioning to the pharmaceutical industry, and especially to AstraZeneca, was the best decision that I made career-wise.
And thank you, Femi. And I agree. I think near everyone in AstraZeneca will say that we move at a dynamic and fast-paced environment. So 100% agree with you there. There's actually a question that I also ask myself every day. So how do you balance family and personal commitments when considering risk-taking in your career?
Yeah. So again, it comes to, yeah. So whenever I have mentees or I'm coaching people, there are three questions that I tend to ask them. One is, what's the end game? The second one is, so the end game meaning 40 years, 50 years from now, what do you want to have to achieved? Second one is around, where do you sit on the pragmatic scale versus intellectual scale? So you can, and then the third question I ask is about work-life balance. Where do you sit on that spectrum as well? So to answer that question, for me, how do I balance work-life commitments with family? I could do better. Everyone can do better at that. Okay. I'm not perfect. I'm someone that just likes to get stuff done. And I don't like leaving things unresolved. But I also am conscious that as someone with a family, I don't want to miss important things either. So it's important to get the balance right. It's different for everybody. There's no right answer. But for me, the lines that I do draw around, I don't miss key events with my family. No matter what's going on at work, I don't miss key events. Even if it means I have to work to like 5 a.m, I will do that. But I will also be there for my family as well. Now, of course, that's not a healthy thing to do regularly. So I don't, do that and burn the wick at both ends. but generally, I'm someone who does like to get stuff done, get stuff delivered, and I always like to, deliver. If I say I'm going to do something, it gets done. I do it. And so for me, it's one of the values I have around, doing what you say, and I expect others around me to do that as well. From a family perspective, my family do understand that my role and the different roles I've had do require different things of me. So right now I'm at a site-based role, and that means if something at my site is going wrong, I do have to drop things to go and sort it out. But when I was in a global role, because I've done global roles in AstraZeneca as well and regional roles, the instances where you're in a global role and something's happening in China and it's 9 a.m. there right now, even though it's 9 p.m. here. Sometimes you have to take that call, So it's a balance. It's a balance, but I never miss on those key events for my family, and that's something that that I have an agreement with my family on as well. That I just can't afford to miss those key events with any of my family.
But
Hope
thank
that
you,
answered
Femi.
the
And
questions.
yeah, no. I mean, for me, it felt like you answered the question well, and it sounds like you're even at your seniority, you're still figuring out that balance, and you are human, right? But you do have a clarity to say, I will get things done, whether it's my work or family or personal life.
Yes.
I think this will probably be the last question that I'll ask for the group, and there have been some great questions so far, but just in the interest of time, this last one is a great one. But knowing that part of being a great leader requires you to also be a learner, who was a mentor or someone that you looked up to as you entered your position?
Great questions. Wow, another one. So I'm someone who has quite a few mentors actually. So that's the other thing. If you're early in your career, don't think you only have to have one mentor. Have many. I have many mentors, and they span different industries as well. But one that comes to mind is a mentor that is actually working at a competitor, actually, in pharma, and this mentor is someone that truly has made me think a lot. So when you're in a mentoring session, it shouldn't be easy. You should feel uncomfortable. And this mentor of mine makes me uncomfortable because this individual knows the right questions to ask to really push my buttons, and I relish this person for that because it's the reflection after the mentoring session that helps me sort of grow, as a leader as well. So to answer the question, yes, I do have mentors, and yes, there's one in particular that I would say has helped me particularly grow in this industry by really challenging me and helping me challenge the paradigm um, within this industry, and also making me ask very good questions around before I've gone for new roles, to help me go into those roles with my eyes open. And it comes back to the very beginning around talking about risks. There's something about going into roles with your eyes open, because not every role is set up for success. So it's important to go into roles with your eyes open so you can navigate and ultimately be successful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Femi. I know, like I said, there were some great questions. Just in the interest of time, we like to transition to just some of the more resources that we have at AZ. And I think, Femi, you'll be in some of those breakout rooms as well, so you'll be able to answer some questions that folks have. But just in the spirit of time, I just want to transition over to Tanya, who will discuss some of our early talent opportunities at AstraZeneca. So Tanya, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Femi. That was awesome, inspiring, and insightful. And so leading on to our talk about AstraZeneca as an employer, future potential employer. So my name is Tanya Murray, and I am a talent acquisition partner and also the program manager for the university relations function enterprise-wide at AZ. And I sit in Gaithersburg. And my background is in human resources. I attended Loyola University in New Orleans and also Florida International University. I always stick the two in so that I can get my my Saints in and my Dolphins. And so my day-to-day responsibility is identifying academic programs that align with our business objectives, adopting a consultative approach to increase awareness of meaningful industry careers beyond academia, and creating those opportunities for whatever walk of life and whatever vocation you choose. We want to make it a meaningful journey for you, and we hope that AstraZeneca can walk alongside you. So my goal most times is to identify dynamic priorities and validate the caliber of graduates that are coming in, and then also oversee the selection process. So that's what a typical day for me looks like. Next slide, please. So within early talent, so we're based, as I mentioned, well, this is the North America. These are our sites. And the slide here, I broke it down by function, which is engineering, safety, health and environment, business, supply chain. And I know that this is people are coming from many parts of the United States. So our main offices are in Gaithersburg, Maryland, but these sites also offer these particular functions. So this is just used as a guide, because if you're in the Washington, D.C. proper, where we have a lot of our government affairs, we may not have a lot of manufacturing roles, just as an illustration. Next slide. And so our goal is expanding our manufacturing footprint and capabilities to be more global. And you'll see that we have manufacturing sites in Ireland, in China, here in Maryland, in France, in Singapore, and we have a new state-of-the-art molecule manufacturing plant that's also being built in Wuxi, China. Next slide. So our early talent programs, we typically follow the academic school year. So meaning in the fall is when most of our programs come available, and usually by December, decisions have made and offers have been extended. So being that we're speaking to you today in late February, that means the goal is for those of you that are planning to graduate in 2026, a lot of the grad programs and internship programs have been decided on for 2025. However, we encourage you to keep a lookout for August, September of this year for new roles that would open up for 2026. We do currently have what we refer to as FTE roles that are currently open, and we can cover that, and they're also on our NSBE site. So we want to encourage you to review that. So we have internship programs, and these are some of the roles that are open. Now, these are dynamic. They could be filled when the right person is identified, or new roles can be replaced by it. So we always encourage you to go on our careers site at AstraZeneca, get sign up for alerts, put in some keywords so that you're one of the first to know when roles come available. But for now, you'll see we have lead engineer roles in Gaithersburg. We have cyber senior engineering roles there with cybersecurity, quality assurance. The fourth one down is actually a postdoc. So if you're in a PhD program, that's a subject matter that's important to AstraZeneca, but we willing to give you resources and also and publishing credit if you want to join alongside our journey from in that postdoc subject. We have senior scientist roles. We in New Haven, Connecticut, we have analytic and quality control. These are all, and then an IT tech. And then in Boston, these are rare disease. So you'll see the acronym RDU. That's rare disease, which is a division of AstraZeneca through the acquisition of Alexion Pharmaceuticals, which is our rare disease. So these are just some of the roles that we have available. They're live now on the NSBE site, as well as the AstraZeneca career site. So if you think you're interested, apply first and then seek to network, because you never know when the role could close. Next slide. And so I'll hand it back over to Donnie, and thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. All right, so next we're going to move on to talking about the annual convention. Hopefully, you all will be there to meet us. So I just want to give you a look at everything that we have going on in this next couple of weeks. So you've already made it to the pre-convention webinar, so give yourselves a round of applause. You're already on the first good start. The next thing, if you are going to be at convention, please join us at the career fair. Our booth number is 1741. We will be disseminating these slides to everyone who registered later, so you'll have this information as well, but we would love for you to come meet us. I'm going to talk a bit more about the Six Sigma Yellow Belt training, but keep in mind that that is there. So if you're interested in learning about Lean and Six Sigma, there's a registration for that event. It's a 2-day event that I'll talk about next. The next event is, and I'm sorry, the career fair is going to be on the 6th and 7th. The workshop will also be on the 6th and 7th. And then we're going to be having the technical research exhibition. AstraZeneca will be hosting the exhibition. Some of us will be judging the posters and the oral presentations, and some of us, including myself, will be presenting. So if you want to learn a bit about what I do as a senior scientist at AstraZeneca, definitely step by my poster at the technical research exhibition. I would love to talk to you about my work. And we will also have someone presenting an oral presentation as well. So you can get to see some, they'll be presenting on devices at AstraZeneca. A lot of people don't know that we do devices there as well. So it'll be a nice way for you to learn something else that we do at our company. And then finally, the healthcare industry mixer, which I'll talk about a bit more in depth on my next slide, but you won't want to miss it. It'll be a great time to network with AstraZeneca. And this will be on the 6th at from 8:30 to 10:30. All right, so as promised, this is the information about the industry mixer that will be hosted by AstraZeneca. So there will be other mixers happening at the same time, but we will be on the rooftop. So if you want to have a great time and be in a luxe location, come join us on the 33rd floor of the Marriott Marquis building. It will be from 8:30 to 10:30. We encourage you to arrive early as we anticipate that it will pack out. And if we're at capacity, you'll have to wait for someone to leave. There will be cocktails and light affairs served, and the attire is business casual. There is a QR code here for you to register. You must register. If you are not registered on the day of, that's fine, but you will have to register to get in. I've also posted the links in the chat, so if you don't have time to register at the moment, please make sure that you copy those links so that you can do that in your own time. Also, we have the Six Sigma strategies for inspiring excellence and driving impact. This is a 2-day seminar hosted by our very own Suba Rao, who's a lean expert. And so please visit her. If you're going to register, you have to register for this event as well. If you're going to register for the event, you have to show up for both days. So just keep that in mind. Again, the link to this is also in the chat. So if you are unable to scan the QR code for whatever reason or don't have time at the moment, please copy those links that I put in the chat down. All right, and then some more links for you to copy down as well. They are also in the chat. We definitely, as Tanya mentioned, want you to visit our careers website. The goal of doing things like this is to bring more talent in, more diverse talent into our network. So we definitely look forward to your application. There are all kinds of opportunities available, FTE opportunities, as Tanya mentioned, full-time employee. In research and development, information technology, automation engineering, validation manufacturing, supply chain, who knows? And so just go ahead and take a look at our careers.astrazeneca.com website. You can also find some of our opportunities at the careers.nesby website. And just search AstraZeneca and that'll pull up a list of all of our hot jobs at the moment. And then finally, we want to ask you to join our talent network. This link in particular is special because this is how we get in touch with you. So most of these other ways you're going to get in touch with us, but this link here is how you're going to get, how we're going to get in touch with you. This enables us to give you information about new opportunities as they become available. So we definitely encourage you to scan this code, or again, I posted that link there in the chat. So sign on up, please. And in preparing for the convention, These are some of the people that you are going to meet. We're going to have about 30 members attending, so you have a wide range of people from different positions, from scientists to director level, senior director, IT, our VP, Femidietti, TAC personnel. So, come on down and meet us. You'll have this slide, so you'll have our names, you'll know what we do. And so you can come down and meet us. If there's anyone you're interested in meeting or any job you want to know about, there's going to be this list provided to you for who will be there. So I definitely look forward to meeting you all at the convention. Now we are going to move into the next big part of our event, which is the networking event. And so you'll get the chance to network with some of us here on the call here at AstraZeneca. So there are 14 of us here from different areas, ranging from HR to science to vice president. So we look forward to actually getting to know you all, and we can start the breakout rooms whenever you all are ready. Hi, Sig.
All right, people will be put into breakout rooms automatically, and we will let you know within 5 to 10 minutes when to return. How much time do they have in the breakout rooms, Donnie?
So the breakout room is 25 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, so we're
break
gonna
you
go
guys
up
out.
to 9. We'll go up to 9:25, and then the rest will be your program.
Awesome. Okay, so breakout rooms are going to be open in 2 seconds. If for some reason you're not in a breakout room, just put your information in the chat, and we'll make sure you're added somewhere. See you guys
Thank
soon.
you.
hear about us. And
All right. I want to thank everyone. I hope that the networking sessions went well for everyone. I definitely enjoyed my group, and I hope everyone enjoyed their group. I've already told people, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have questions that we didn't have a chance to get to. Definitely feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, and we'd be more than happy to answer some of your questions offline as well. All right, and we're going to pass the program back over to HiSig. Thank you all for your time. We really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you in NSBE Chicago.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good round of applause for AstraZeneca and that amazing presentation that just had. And we really appreciate the partnership. We really appreciate what you guys are doing for the community. I know that you guys are putting your hearts and souls into this, and that's important for us to realize. I know everyone on the call that was here to experience just the greatness that you guys bring to the table was thankful and looking forward to seeing you guys in NASB 50. I just want to confirm, you seen the thank you slide that says stay connected? You should be seeing that, correct? Good.
Yes.
Again, round of applause again. We have all of your contact information on LinkedIn in case people want to reach out to you, correct? Donnie, I think everything's there, right? Awesome. So as we wrap things up, I just want to again, there's the link again if you want to join us at the AstraZeneca and take the code because it's an opportunity to find out, job networks. If you're not looking for something, somebody else might, and it might be an opportunity for them to take advantage of a great job opportunity to get on this great team of individuals. You can see the careers are insane and definitely something worth aspiring after. And for just to give some credit to the people that put the show on here, of course, I can't do this by myself. I do this with this amazing, absolutely phenomenal people that time out to meet at least 2 to 3 times a week, putting together great content for you guys, from Tony Black to John Thomas to Mr. Prince, David Swain, Colin, and all of them are working hard, all the way down to Uday, who are working hard to make sure that they bring on something that's helpful for your career. We're hoping that you continue to come back. We want you to follow us on LinkedIn. A lot of that content is there. The main thing we want to mention to you is we do have our upcoming HiSig business meeting, and I believe we have that in March 7th. So if you're going to be at NASB, please make it a point to join us for the HiSig business meeting. Now, I just want to make sure you guys are clear. It does not conflict with that event. So you can actually vote. It is important to be able to see this in both events. So that's going to be a great opportunity to really kind of get involved from that level. Last 2 things I want to mention is our HiSig ecosystem model is still growing. Prince and Uday are working really hard to ensure that within the region, we're able to capture people for the care system, and we want you to get involved. So if you have interest, we do have a link to make sure that you have an opportunity to be a part of the SIG board. If you have things that are still open, we're waiting for people that are interested, and we have the people online that are applying right now. We would love to see you as part of our team making a difference, and we want to make sure you have an opportunity to get involved. It's reaps great benefit of being a part of that team, and we think that's important to do. And we wanted to maybe take your feedback, right? We love these meetings. It's important to share this content from a webinar perspective. If you have any feedback you'd like to give us, any sessions you'd like to bring to the table, any ideas that you want to share with the team, or if you want to pass it to AstraZeneca, we're happy to take it for you. That's what these meetings are about. We plan to do another one in April, so stay tuned for that as we're having continued moving forward. And then just realize that we have a lot of relationships from partnership over time, from AstraZeneca all the way to BMES, Mathematic, Amgen, all looking to provide you with great content. With that, we want to say thank you for your time. Thank you, AstraZeneca. Thank you for being a part of this. And please look out for us at NASB 50. We'll see you guys in Chicago. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone, have a good night. Thank you for coming.
Take care, everyone.
Good night. Thanks for coming.